Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna be talking about The Green Knight. Um, yeah, let's get into this. So, I guess the basic summary of the movie would be I'm gonna try to not go into too. I don't really think I can go into spoilers that much, but basically the story follows along Sir Gawain and his. It's this myth of the Green Knight that's from Arthurian legend and a few I think a few related myths because I don't not all of them were like directly the Green Knight myth, but part of it was his journey and what's going on with him. This movie, um, this movie's I'm just gonna say it, it's weird. It's definitely not for everyone, and I know for myself when I went in, I didn't know what to expect. And from the trailers I had seen, what I got was not what I expected. So we'll start off with some positives. I think there's from a like cinematography's perspective, like camera work is excellent. There's a lot of really cool shots, and the way that they use the camera to tell stories is interesting and something that I'm not used to in what I usually watch. Acting was great. I really like the acting a lot. Um, Now, as tradition on this channel, uh, I'm going to talk about the writing, which is where I'm going to be less. I'm not going to be. I don't know how to put this. For me, this is not my cup of tea. This is not what I was expecting. It's not what I wanted to watch. And it was very, like, trippy, is, I guess, the best way I could put it. There were a lot of parts of this movie that I felt drug on and on and on and on. And I kind of get what the reasons they were going for. It seemed very much like, to me, this was, again, as like an art piece, it's very much like trying to reinterpret the telling of a fairy tale, which fairy tales, generally speaking, don't make sense. Like, they don't really tell a story. A lot of fairy tales don't tell a story in an effective manner, especially one that's as old as the Green Knight. They're not. It's not the same as what we kind of tell in like modern day. There usually there's different beats and a much different feeling. So I get that. I understand that. I think this is a very like the intention of this film is to be very ambiguous and to make you question and to make you think about how this like magic and stuff like that is affected in the real world, and specifically Gawain's story, and like, is he worthy of being a knight, seeing like his trials through the movie. um my concern is that I think that the marketing and the trailers were misleading a little bit. I didn't know what A24 was as a studio, and I wish I would have, because that's, again, not my cup of tea. I'm not a big fan of horror. I don't usually like. I do watch and read things that are not strictly fantasy, that are more artistic and stuff like that, usually for class or for school, and I have to analyze and think about these in a different way. They're a much different concept than reading a fantasy story where we've got these character setups and this um, very cohesive plot that I feel like brings the reader in more and puts more work on the writer rather than the reader to kind of get the story. Pieces like this are more focused the other way around. It's very much on This movie is very much on the viewer to do the work to interpret the movie. And it's not bad, but it's not for the I would not say I would say it's not for the general populace. It's set up for a very specific set of people. And I think when you've got the marketing set up like that, where your trailers almost seem like it's going to be this knight's quest, and the context of, what a viewer would think that means in modern day, I think not making it clear that that's not what you're going for to potentially draw in viewers is a little misleading, and I don't like that. But again, I don't think they were like intentionally doing it to be malicious at all by any means. I'm trying to think if I've got any other real big thoughts on this. I mean, I don't really care. Like, the adaptation of the fairy tale is, I think, interesting in a way. There's some cool parts to it. There's some really interesting scenes, but I think that, like, for me personally, especially with how trippy this movie is, the fact that it's 2.5 hours long is way too long to deal with this. I think there's a lot of scenes I think that could have been cut from this film and made it shrink down a little bit, so that it depends on what story they're trying to tell, but for me, if I were to be trying to produce this for a more palatable for a general audience, I think shrinking the film length to maybe like an hour 45 would make this easier to watch and handle and to think about, because there's just so many scenes that are drug on uncomfortably long intentionally, and I get that. But again, it really depends on what story they want to tell, and this is clearly the story they wanted to tell and what they wanted to do with it. I just don't think it's for me. And I have a feeling that there's a lot of people who don't think it's for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, I'm not going to be a big fan of things like this. And I probably won't ever be watching it again, because I was kind of like, meh, okay. So, I'm interested to talk about it with people and see. I don't really know very many people that have actually watched this. So if you have watched it, post down below. Let's talk about it a little bit. I know there's people out there who do really enjoy movies like this, so I'm interested to get like another perspective on what you enjoy and why you enjoy it, and what this what this type of storytelling does for you. It's definitely different. So that's gonna be it for this one. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.